Have you ever felt like you're walking a path that no one else can see? Like you're speaking a language that others can hear but somehow can't quite understand? There's this moment, perhaps you've experienced it, when you're standing in a crowded room, surrounded by laughter and conversation, yet feeling completely alone. Not because you're unloved or unwanted, but because something deep inside you whispers that you're different, that you're meant for something else. This feeling, this sense of being apart from the crowd, isn't a curse. It's not a flaw in your design. What if, and stay with me here, what if this feeling of differentness is actually a gentle nudge from the universe? What if it's a quiet signal that you're carrying something unique, something the world desperately needs? You see, throughout history, there have been those who walked apart from the crowd. Not because they were better, but because they were chosen to see things differently, to feel more deeply, to question more boldly. This isn't about ego or superiority, it's about purpose. And maybe, just maybe, that feeling of being different is the first step on your journey to discovering yours. Let me share something that might sound familiar. You're at a gathering, maybe a party, a family reunion, or even just a busy coffee shop. Suddenly you feel it. That overwhelming sensation of carrying everyone's emotions, their unspoken words, their hidden pain. It's like being a human sponge in an ocean of feelings, and sometimes it feels like you're drowning. But here's what no one tells you about this experience. This sensitivity, this ability to feel so deeply, isn't a weakness, it's a gift. Though sometimes it might feel more like a burden you never asked for. Think of yourself as a finely tuned instrument in a world of loud noises. Just as a delicate violin needs to be protected from harsh elements, your sensitive spirit requires protection too. When you feel the need to withdraw, to seek solitude, you're not being antisocial. You're honoring your nature. You're practicing spiritual self-preservation. I remember speaking with a wise teacher who once told me, "The oak tree grows strong not in the shelter of the forest, but in the openness where it must face the winds alone." This is your journey. Those moments when you feel most alone are often the moments when your spirit is growing strongest. Consider the butterfly. During its transformation, it must isolate itself completely within its chrysalis. If someone were to help it by breaking open that cocoon too early, the butterfly would never develop the strength it needs to fly. Your periods of spiritual isolation serve the same purpose. They're not punishment, they're preparation. When you feel the need to step away from the chaos of the world, to retreat into your own space, recognize this as sacred time. It's in these quiet moments that you can finally hear your inner voice, that wise counselor that's often drowned out by the noise of daily life. This is when real spiritual development occurs. Some of the most profound insights come not from constant connection with others, but from deep connection with yourself. It's in solitude that you begin to understand the difference between loneliness and being alone. One is a state of lack, the other a state of completion. So the next time you feel that pull to withdraw, to seek sanctuary in solitude, remember, you're not running away from the world, you're running toward your truth. This isolation isn't empty, it's full of possibility, growth, and transformation. It's not about disconnecting, it's about connecting more deeply with your authentic self. Because sometimes, the most important conversation you can have is with your own soul, in the quiet spaces where wisdom whispers and truth reveals itself. There's a peculiar paradox that emerges when you begin to walk your authentic path. The more genuinely yourself you become, the more you might find yourself standing alone. It's like speaking a language that becomes increasingly foreign to those around you, even to those who once seemed to understand every word. Let me paint you a picture that might feel familiar. You're sitting with old friends, sharing a moment that should feel comfortable, but something has shifted. As you speak your truth about your spiritual awakening, your changing perspectives, your deeper understanding of life, you notice the subtle shifts in their expressions, the slight disconnection in their eyes, the polite but distant smiles. And in that moment you feel it, the gentle heartbreak of growing apart. But here's what's really happening beneath the surface. When you embrace your authentic self, you become a mirror. And mirrors, my friends, can be confronting. You see, your journey toward authenticity inevitably reflects back to others what they haven't yet confronted in themselves. Your courage to change highlights their fear of transformation. Your willingness to question everything reminds them of the questions they've been avoiding. And sometimes this reflection creates a response that can feel personal: jealousy, criticism, or even hostility. Perhaps you've experienced it. The subtle jabs masked as concern, the dismissive comments about your new age thinking, the implications that you've changed, as if change was somehow a betrayal rather than growth. Remember this: when others react with judgment or distance, they're not really seeing you. They're seeing their own unresolved shadows, their own unopened doors, their own untaken journeys. Their reaction is their story, not yours. Think of it like this. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. From your vantage point, you can see views that those at the base cannot yet comprehend. You might try to describe the sunrise from up there, but to those below it's still dark. This isn't about superiority, it's simply about different positions on the path. Some connections will naturally fall away because you're no longer walking the same trail. But here's the beautiful truth. As some connections fade, new ones emerge. As you align more deeply with your authentic self, you naturally attract those who resonate with your frequency. These connections might be fewer, but they're deeper, truer, more meaningful. They don't require you to dim your light or speak in half-truths. So when you feel that disconnection, when you notice those blank stares or sense the withdrawal of others, remember, this too is part of the journey. You're not meant to be compatible with everyone. You're not meant to make sense to those who aren't ready to understand. Your role isn't to shrink yourself back into old spaces that you've outgrown. Your role is to keep walking your path, to keep speaking your truth, to keep being that mirror, because somewhere out there, someone needs to see exactly what you're reflecting. Think of every great visionary, every revolutionary artist, every world-changing inventor. They all shared one common experience: periods of profound solitude. Not because they were antisocial, but because they were answering a call that only they could hear. Consider Vincent van Gogh, who spent countless hours alone with his canvases, pursuing a vision of beauty that his contemporaries couldn't understand. Or Nikola Tesla, who would work in isolation for days, driven by visions of a world transformed by electricity. Their solitude wasn't empty. It was filled with purpose, with creation, with becoming. What if your current sense of separation isn't a punishment, but a preparation? What if this quiet space you find yourself in isn't an absence of connection, but the presence of something far more profound: your calling? You see, when you're called to something greater, the universe often clears your path in ways that might initially feel like loss. Those hours you spend alone, when others are socializing or living their best lives on social media, that's not time lost. That's sacred space. That's where your purpose is taking root, where your unique gift to the world is being refined. Think of it like an athlete training for the Olympics. They miss parties. They skip social events. They wake up when others are sleeping. Not because they're antisocial, but because they're dedicated to something bigger than casual entertainment. Their seeming isolation is actually focused dedication to their purpose. But here's the part that's often misunderstood. Your calling might not look like traditional success. It might not come with medals or applause. Your purpose might be as quiet as being the one person who truly listens to others' pain. It might be creating art that speaks to just one person's soul. It might be developing an idea that won't be understood for years to come. The key is recognizing that this time of solitude isn't about what you're missing. It's about what you're becoming. Every moment spent in reflection, every hour dedicated to honing your craft, every day spent exploring your inner wisdom. These are not detours from life. They are the very essence of living your purpose. And yes, this path can feel lonely. There will be moments when you question everything, when you wonder if you're just fooling yourself. But remember this, every great purpose, every meaningful mission, every important calling, they all began with someone willing to stand alone, to listen to that quiet voice inside that says, there's something more for you to do. So embrace this time. Use it. Let it shape you. Let it prepare you. Because the world doesn't need more people mindlessly following the crowd. It needs those who have the courage to walk their own path, to develop their unique gifts, to answer their distinct calling. Have you ever watched a metalsmith at work? They take raw metal and subject it to intense heat, not to destroy it, but to purify it, to transform it into something precious, something valuable. Your current experience of isolation? It's exactly like that refiner's fire. When relationships fall away, when old connections seem to dissolve like morning mist, it's easy to feel like you're losing something. But what if, and this is crucial, what if you're not losing, but letting go? What if this perceived loss is actually a necessary pruning, making space for something more aligned with who you're becoming? Think of a garden. Sometimes the healthiest thing we can do is remove what no longer serves the garden's growth. Those friendships that drain your energy, those connections that keep you small, those situations that dim your light, perhaps they're the dead branches that need to be pruned away. It might feel painful, it might look empty at first, but this clearing creates space for new growth, for stronger connections, for relationships that truly nourish your soul. But here's the beautiful part about this refiner's fire. It doesn't just clear away what's unnecessary, it strengthens what remains. In these moments of solitude, you develop something invaluable, an unshakable relationship with yourself. You learn to stand firm in your own truth, to trust your own wisdom, to find comfort in your own company. This transformation isn't just about what you lose, it's about what you become. Like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, you're not just changing, you're evolving. Each moment of loneliness is building resilience. Each instance of standing alone is developing independence. Each period of isolation is crafting wisdom. Remember, diamonds are formed under pressure, pearls are created through irritation, and your strongest self is being forged right now in this refiner's fire. Trust the process. Trust your transformation. What feels like isolation today is tomorrow's foundation for authentic connection and genuine purpose. There's an old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. But here's what they don't tell you. Finding your together isn't about collecting as many connections as possible. It's about discovering those rare souls who make your spirit say, ah, there you are. I've been looking for you. Think of yourself as a unique frequency, broadcasting your authentic truth into the universe. Right now, across the world, there are others broadcasting on that same frequency. They too have felt different. They too have walked alone. They too have questioned if anyone else could possibly understand their journey. But here's the magical thing about walking your authentic path. It naturally leads you to your authentic tribe. It might not happen overnight. It might not look like traditional friendship. Your tribe might be scattered across the globe, connected through screens and shared experiences. They might gather in meditation circles, in art workshops, in online forums where deep souls dare to be real. Don't rush this process. Your tribe isn't found through desperate searching. It's discovered through authentic being. When you stay true to your path, when you speak your truth without diluting it, when you show up as exactly who you are, you become a beacon for kindred spirits. And yes, your tribe might be smaller than the crowds you once knew, but these connections will be deeper, richer, more real. These are the people who get it, who understand the language of your soul without needing translation. They're the ones who celebrate your growth instead of fearing it, who support your journey because they're on one of their own. Remember, you're not looking for perfect people, you're looking for your perfect matches. Those who resonate with your frequency, who light up at the same things that light you up, who understand that sometimes the most profound connections happen in comfortable silence. Your tribe is out there, They're waiting in spiritual communities, in creative spaces, in places where depth is valued over small talk. Stay open, stay authentic, stay true to your path. Because when you do, you'll find that you're not just finding your tribe, you're finding your home. As our paths cross here today, I want to leave you with this truth. Your journey of being different isn't a detour, it's your destiny. Those moments when you feel most alone are often the moments when you're closest to breakthrough. Think of every great soul who changed the world. They all started exactly where you are now, feeling different, feeling separate, yet knowing deep inside that they carried something special. If these words have touched something within you, if they've awakened that quiet voice that whispers, "Yes, this is me," then let's continue this journey together. Hit that subscribe button below and become part of our growing community of conscious souls. Turn on notifications so you never miss our weekly insights into spiritual growth and personal transformation. By subscribing, you're not just following a channel, you're joining a movement of people who dare to be different, who choose to embrace their unique path, who understand that being set apart isn't a curse, it's a calling. Remember, you're not walking this path by accident. You're walking it by design. And somewhere out there, someone needs exactly what only you can give. Until next time, stay true to your path, embrace your uniqueness, and let your light shine bright.